time has come. All nations, all the means of communications, the Church of Jesus Christ, gather to hear the ruler of the Gentiles, the one who died, was resurrected, and returned to life. He has returned. The Lord is here. José Luis de Jesús Miranda, the man Christ Jesus.
Hello, Bless. Today's topic is the great city. And now, the man Christ Jesus.
Blessed with all blessing. Well, today's topic is the great city. The great city. Like we were reading before, this is the great Jerusalem. And you know that the system does not understand this. And you have to understand, look, Revelations, I do not try to interpret it. I simply, as the show goes developing of the story of the movie of Growing in Grace, I start interpreting. Don't you know that this was written by a man that was contaminated by the spirit of the circumcision of law? And he wrote and did not understand. And naturally, he says a bunch of nonsense because he was troubled. He saw and did not understand. He wrote and did not understand. From a man like this, you have to be very careful. So what I do with calm, this of the great Jerusalem, you know how many churches have drawn this city as if it was a city? In Puerto Rico, there's a church that they got together to speak in tongues, and in tongues, they start to give the dimensions of the church. How many cubits and how many doors and cubits of this? There's a synagogue in Puerto Rico based on these things, because that's a spirit of confusion, and God sends them a spirit of lies to believe in those lies. Not the great Jerusalem. Notice that it is not how John says that the wise master builder, our apostle, Paul, look how he writes in Galatians chapter 4, verse 25 and 26. Look how it says. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and corresponds to the Jerusalem, which now is the one that is in war right now, and is in bondage with her children. That's why we do not have to travel over there for nothing. And then, number 26 says, but the Jerusalem above, this is the one we have been speaking about, is free, which is the mother of us all. Hey, the Jerusalem above is free. The spirit of the uncircumcision, the spirit of the true gospel of power, is the mother of us all. Do you think that a city with streets of crystal and elevators and diamonds and chains, blessed, we are not in these times to speak of the church as if it is Disney World or Disneyland or a story of old ladies or fairy tales. This is written. This has biblical evidences. For example, we can conclude that the great Jerusalem is the church. Notice how it says, I will divide this chat in 3 parts. Ministries, praise, and the unity of the Spirit. Ministries, praise, and the unity of the Spirit, the body of Jesus Christ. For example, when you read Revelations chapter 21:15, look how it says. 21:15 says, it says, and he who talked, said John, with me had a gold reed to measure the city, its gates, and its wall. The man had a gold reed to measure. When you listen to gold reed, you can think of the Lord weighs his spirits. The Lord measures his church with grace. The Lord deals with the church with apostleship, Zorobabel, and the plumb line. There's a plumb line. So then, when I think of that gold reed to measure its gates and its wall, well, I also see a ministry that has harmony that only an angelical covering could take it this way. And when I read Revelations 21:21, look how it says, the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Each individual gate was of one pearl, and the street of the city was pure gold like transparent glass. What does this remind me of? My father. And I thought of the praise groups. So much praise I never saw before in all the history of the thousands of years of church that has this many singers, psalmists, and composers then growing in grace. There are so many, and I see the great city being nourished, being strengthened, the doors, the gates. And when we speak of the unity of the Spirit, which is the third step, I spoke of the ministries, I spoke of the praise groups, and now when we speak of the unity of the Spirit is the attitudes of bishops and collaborators. These attitudes in the ministry, look, we are reaching the goal of the transformation, and you cannot have at this time fighting with the blessed collaborators. That's why the church does not grow and nothing's firm, and the finances, there's attitudes, there's scheming, there's distrust. So then when these things happen, things do not work. Instead of being a spectacle, it's a tool for others to criticize. And then people are deceived and they want to sow elsewhere because they do not trust putting it in the bishop's hands because he misuses it. Or, in other words, we are in severe times right now where things are tightening up, and those who will govern in this government have to be clean with your thoughts, very organized. Why do I say this? Why do I do this? What motivates me to do this? What is my personal interest that I have? What is my hunger of my spoiled ego? The dead person, the cadaver, has to be very still in the coffin. This is the cemetery of growing in grace, and the dead people cannot be playing ball. You cannot be active. You have to be dead. We are dead people, and we are serving like the Spirit guides us, not by our own competency, because we have none. It is Him doing in us what is pleasing in front of the Lord. Beloved, it will be until a next occasion. Until next time.
Telegracia, the channel that renews your mind.